that it started from when we were in high school and we were like doing adventures, finding out like secrets of people. And I thought that was going to be the top for us.
I feel like with Elizabeth, she's the kind of person where you meet her and it doesn't matter what you're doing, you're going to have fun either way.
One of the hardest transitions for me was because uni was surprisingly easy for me because God knows me. So he just inbuilt friends into my course. Mm-hmm. So I didn't even have to. All the friends I made in uni were my friends' friends. Like my friends already had friends, and it was perfect. It was amazing. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Inspired By. Today, our episode is based around the theme of friendship, more specifically, actually, female friendship. The book that I read to kind of start this conversation is To My Sisters by the ladies of To My Sisters podcast. So I need to jump in here real quick and make a correction. For whatever reason, I blanked when saying the others' names and kept saying them wrong several times in the episode. So I'm here to make a very important correction. So their actual names are Renee Kapuku and Courtney Daniela Boateng, also known as CDB. I've loved them forever and I apologize. And it was a really good read. We'll talk more about the book later. But today I have here with me two guests that I think exemplify sisterhood in all its fear, in all its beauty, in all its complexity. And I was so excited when they said yes to this because it allows us to learn from people that are actually doing the work, which is what we want to do with this podcast. So welcome here, Phoebe and Elizabeth.
Hello. Hi.
All right. So if each of you can introduce yourselves, just as general, like summary of who you are, and then we can dive into our questions.
Okay. All right. Do you want to go first? Okay, I'll go first. My name is Elizabeth. If I need to say a little bit about myself, I am an outgoing person that likes to experience new things. Yeah, that's just me.
Yeah.
My name is Phoebe. I'm working at the moment and I'm just trying to fill life with things that make me happy.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. So the first question I think is, I don't think I know the answer to this question, which is, do you remember how you met? So we all went to school together. So I know you probably met there. But do you remember the first time you saw this person? It was like, I'm realizing who this human is. Do you remember how you guys met?
No, because when we the first time we met, we were kids. Yeah. Because we went to the same church. So obviously we have annual conferences and things. So I actually don't remember you from the first time we actually met. I feel like when we now met each other in high school, like O levels, later on, then we were conscious about each other. But the first time,
I feel like we were just in the same environment at the same time, but we didn't know each other. We didn't mingle with each other. Also, because we have 3 years difference. So basically, I've known her. I always say that I've known her all her life because basically, when I got to know her, she was 2 years old. I was 5, and yeah, we've been going through it, being family friends, then roommates, then classmates, and best friends.
Yeah. So do you remember the time when you guys were like, oh, I think we have something here that it's, because we're all where we went to school, we were all together. You're all kind of friends with everyone. But how did you know that, I think we have a special bond here? When did this special friendship start, do you think?
Well, I think we have different versions. I have my version. She has hers that she keeps.
I want to hear both.
Yeah, I feel like I'm being rejected for half of our friendship.
The question is, when did you realize that, this might actually be a serious friendship?
Oh, a serious friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, then. With a serious friendship, I think 13 and 16 years old. Mm-hmm. So when we started high school, and I came back to the same high school. Like we were together. We ended up being like roommates for a while, and we're also classmates. And Phoebe was the smart one, and my mom always told me to stay around smart people. So I did.
Same.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to stick with this one. And she was so quiet, and that was so like something that made me so curious about her. She would not talk a lot, and I was the one that was always talking, and she's a very good listener. And I was like, yeah, I will keep this one. That's what I thought. Yes, I want this. Yeah.
I love that.
I actually don't remember when we first started talking. I remember there was a time when we were roommates, but we weren't, like, she had other friends, so we didn't used to hang out. And then something happened, and next thing I know, it's like I have someone that I talk to every day. But I can never remember the actual time we started talking, and I was like, oh, this is nice. I think we're gonna be friends. I don't remember that time.
That's fair. That's fair. So without, putting all your business out there about your age, unless you don't mind, how long have you been friends for then? If it kind of started when you were 13, 16, I feel like you guys have been friends definitely well over a decade.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well over a decade, have been good friends. Because I've known you guys well over a decade. And you've been, like, in my mind, you've been best friends all the time I've known both of you. Like, I've always, like, seen you guys together the whole time. Because that was around that period, like high school period.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably a bit later, actually. So you guys were already, like, close from the time I knew you. And that's well over a decade ago. So that's a really long time.
I think it's almost clocking 2 decades.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were 13. Yeah. And I was 16. That's when I came back to the high school.
Yeah, but we didn't become friends then.
But it wasn't a long time.
Yeah, it wasn't long. Because by the time I knew you guys, you were pretty close at that time already.
Like, we didn't spend the whole scholastic year before we became friends, like the other year. So it was in that same year that it happened.
Yeah.
It just wasn't at the beginning.
Yeah.
But yeah,
one thing I love for... Yeah, go ahead now. Go ahead.
Almost 20.
I can believe that, to be honest. At least like 15-ish. I can see that for sure. Like 15-ish years, I can see that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So it's all right. It's all right. One thing I really love about you guys' friendship is if you follow, say, Phoebe, which give us your quick plug on Instagram so that people can go.
Mine is adami.low.
Yeah. It's Dami.low.
Yeah. And Elizabeth, you can give your plug as well for your Instagram. But I don't know if you post a lot.
Who does? She does.
Yeah, Phoebe posts a lot. But what is your ad as well?
Mine is Lixie_Dina.
Yes. So if you follow Phoebe's Instagram, you see all these like wacky adventures that you guys go on. And it's always something really inspiring because you guys, the theme is consistently, you guys are just having fun. Whether you are taking a trip, whether you are trying something new, like you're always like having fun. And I love the fact that you document it as well. I think that's really, really sweet. What would be, say, the favorite kind of adventure memory you've had? Because I feel like just from knowing you guys, Elizabeth is very adventurous. That just has always been your disposition. And because Phoebe, you love having fun as well. It just works well together with you guys just finding things to do that I personally would. I think one time you guys went like off-road.
Oh yeah,
and I could never. But that's one of my favorite things I've seen you guys do. But what's one of the favorite things you guys have done together?
I don't, because every time there seems to be a new one, so the new one trumps the old one. I thought that it started from when we were in high school and we were like doing adventures, finding out like secrets of people. And I thought that was going to be the top for us. But then later, Phoebe got me parasailing over the sky. That was good. Or me trying to go on a boat knowing that I have motion sickness. That was another one. Or me trying to drive the buggy, being the first time driving on the road, basically, and hoping not to fall over the cliff. And then the last one I think would be maybe the swimming one. If we Phoebe can't swim, but she's there mentoring me and telling me, no, do a few laps. And I'm thinking, sorry, I just arrived. I've not been doing this for a while. So yeah, even the simplest things become adventurous for us.
Yeah.
I actually kind of like, because I feel like with Elizabeth, she's the kind of person where you meet her and it doesn't matter what you're doing, you're gonna have fun either way. Like there was a time when we decided that we're both tired. We were tired like from work, and she was coming to visit me, and we just said let's spend the day inside. So I was crocheting. Like the video is on my crochet page. You can see that I was crocheting. We're watching something, and that was us the whole day. Maybe we ordered in McDonald's because we said we're not cooking. And just knowing that no matter what I'm doing, if I'm with her, it's going to be fun. I think that makes it. Oh yeah,
that's so sweet. Yeah, I love that answer. So you guys are clearly quite intentional about creating memories. I say this because I know both of you don't live in the same city. So for the longest time, it was like a long distance. Apart from obviously when we were in school, it was like a long distance relationship and friendship. So how have you been able to be intentional about carving at that time, even if you are just going to be in your apartment just chilling? How are you able to kind of prioritize that and make sure that you do create these memories together? Because I feel like this doesn't just happen. You have to plan it out. You have to be intentional about it. So how do you go about that?
About the intentional part, I literally remember the time that we decided to do that, like intentionally. Before, we were family friends. And so over the summers, we used to meet. Like our parents would drop us over at each other's place, or we would have like a group of friends being together and we would be part of the group. And then later, maybe if we have like conferences from church, we know we would meet and we'll spend the time together. Then COVID happened, and so we couldn't travel, and we were apart from each other for like a year and a half, almost 2.
Yeah.
And during that period, I thought that she didn't like me no more, and I took that very personally because Phoebe wouldn't open up and tell me, oh, this is what I'm thinking. I literally think something and it comes out of my mouth. He said, Phoebe, well, if you don't ask me, maybe you don't want to know. That's how I felt it. So she would think stuff and make all the logic and just keep it to herself. And I was shooting everything and I felt like it wasn't balanced. And I was like, do you know what? I don't want to be friends with her no more. And I didn't even inform her about that. So the way it happened is that I now came to Sheffield because I was coming to meet another friend.
She wasn't coming to meet me.
I wasn't coming to meet her. But I had the good idea to post it and she saw it.
I saw when she posted it. I said, I know this place. I was like, I'm in Sheffield today. I'm sorry, I posted. I was like, are you in Sheffield?
And I was still there because I'd not informed her that, we're not friends no more. I'm not talking to you no more. And so I was like, yeah, I'm in Sheffield. So well. And she was like, I'm in Sheffield. Then she was like, oh, let's meet up. I was like, I'm busy. No, I can come and meet you. And I was like, then she now said the magic word.
I was at a bridal shower, and so I left early. I brought food for her.
Exactly.
Well.
She said
I drove from where I was because it wasn't in Sheffield. It was like, let's just say 30 minutes from Sheffield. Mm-hmm. So I drove back. I met her, gave her the food. Yeah.
And then because also, as God had it, my friend bailed on me. So I was very free. And it was like, great. So I have you all to myself. And she gave me like a really good time. So that was March 2022.
But wait, before you actually continue, when you said that during COVID, right, we kind of stopped talking. I think she was now angry that I don't talk a lot. But on my side, I think after she did that, I could feel like at one point, I remember talking to Rhoda and I was like, I don't think Elizabeth wants to be friends anymore. I think she's like putting distance between us. So I remember that And I remember we were coming back from the gym, and it was a tough time. And I think we were just both angry at one another because something had happened.
Yeah.
We were going for a singles conference.
Yeah.
And I know she's busy. So I know that even if I invite her, she can't make it. So in my head, I was like, just don't give her the stress. So I didn't tell her. But then she now saw it after we posted it. She was like, you didn't invite me. And I was like, I didn't think you'd be able to make it. And she was like, but that's not the point. You still didn't invite me.
Yeah.
And I think that was when we're both like, okay, we're really, the way we're communicating is not working for us at all. But yeah.
So the next month, she invited me now to come over, and I did. And that's when we decided to approach the situation. We cried. We realized what had happened.
It was at a barbecue.
It was at a barbecue.
And then we were both like just saying how we feel about each other. Like, if you hurt me, all of this stuff. And then we're both crying. And then we finished the conversation. And then we hugged. And then we walked back to the barbecue. Oh, it was horrible.
Yeah. But then she invited me the next month. Then I was like, do you know what? I like routines. And I was like, do you know what? Maybe we can make it like every month. And since then, since March 2022, we've been meeting every single month.
Yeah.
And because I saw that, I was like, we need to be intentional about our friendship, because the lack of communication happened because there was a break in meeting up. Since you don't open that much, and I expect you to, I don't ask the questions, so that makes it difficult. But if we meet occasionally, then you telling me stuff, and then I can ask the question, I can see stuff. There are things that you don't need to tell me because I'll see them. And I saw that was a really good thing for our friendship. So I just realized that, we need to be intentional about this.
Also, I would say like about my character, like before, like now, I feel like I do my best to make my life interesting and I document it. But like, I remember you were saying how, it's nice that we document everything. We don't have pictures together till like, I feel like the earliest one was like 2020 or 20, something like that. Like we actually don't have pictures together. We're probably in a group. But we didn't take pictures. And then I'm also like, I feel like back then I didn't feel like my life was interesting. So she might ask me, how was your day? And I was like, yeah, it was fine. Work, school, and I'm home. Like there's no details that I would give thinking, oh my God, this is interesting. And so I feel like that is also what didn't help with our communication.
Yeah. I love that you recognize that what would work for your relationship is meeting each other physically and being in the same space, and that would allow for the conversation that was necessary. Because I think when that's part of the intentionality, finding out what would work for your relationship. Because some people might have just continued trying to like text each other back and forth, and then this person will be mad that you give me short answers, and then that person and it would have just not worked. But realizing, okay, what we can do is find a way where we're in each other's space, because we thrive most there. And let's be intentional about that. Even if it takes more effort doing what it takes, that is definitely very, very good. I didn't know about the whole kind of moment of reconciliation and riff and stuff like that. I think it's really, I feel like I reconnected with you, Phoebe, and also Elizabeth around that time, because it was around the time I was in Sheffield as well, and you would come over. So I always knew every once in a while I would probably see you around. And it was really nice seeing both of you. And I didn't, at that time, I could sense, because I do love people watching and observing people, I could sense that there was a mending going on. And that really, I loved that, because I was like, oh, these people are actually being serious about this. And that's really, really cool and really important. So I'm glad that I kind of have a full idea of the whole arc now. Yeah, that's really cool. Let's go into the book, because that is kind of what we want to bring out, some of the lessons in the book. So the book is To My Sisters, and it is written by authors that are podcasters. So they have a podcast of the same name, To My Sisters. I don't know their full name, like name and surname, but it's two friends called Renee and Danielle. And what they do is, I think, very interesting because they are trying to kind of lift up this idea of female friendship and sisterhood. And in chapter, and equip people to have the skills to facilitate healthy relationships and not just kind of and do the things like communicating and being intentional and stuff like that, and allowing people to build themselves up with the emotional skills and with the emotional intelligence to be able to be good friends. So I think it's really cool. When I started the book, it's one of those books that have, because I'm listening to it because it's an audiobook that I got, and it has it's one of those books with the exercises at the end of it where you have to and from what I can tell, they're journaling girlies, and I'm not a journaling girly. I don't want to, I want to think my thoughts. I don't want to sit down and write them down. That feels like a lot. So I remember feeling kind of like it was kind of off-putting when they were like, okay, so after listening to this chapter, go and think about your friends and go and think about your emotions and think about the kind. I was like, I don't want to do all that. That's a lot. I didn't, this was not therapy. I didn't expect to do all this work. But the more I listened to it, the more I realized that, oh, actually, this is a great skill set that they're giving people. One of the first things that caught my attention in the book is in chapter 6, where they're talking about boundaries. And it's a similar thing that happened with them that happened also with your friendship, I think. So one of them was they got to know each other similarly like you guys in high school, and then they went to college together. They went to different universities. And when they went to university, one of them, Renee, with their wider group of friends, they stayed in touch, but with their wider group of friends, she became less kind of available for them because both of them went to prestigious schools in the UK. Danielle went to Cambridge, I think, and then Renee went to Oxford. And when Renee went to Oxford, because it was really intense and really busy and it was a change, she didn't really like, whenever the other friends would invite them to like get-togethers and this and that and that, she would be frustrated by it because she felt like, I can't go because I'm busy. And why can't they understand that I'm busy? And now I feel bad saying no. And it's this whole thing. And they had this whole thing for a while, but she didn't like communicate it. She just stonewalled everyone. And then years down the line, her friends were like, you've kind of distanced yourself a bit. And she was, at that moment is when she started explaining to them, and they realized, oh, so this is what has been going on. You haven't been communicating that you're busy. You haven't been communicating that you're transitioning and you're changing your time management and your priorities don't allow you. You've just been like unavailable. And we don't know what that means. So we have to fill in the blanks. But now we're realizing, oh, this is what was going on. And she also realized, oh, one, I was terrible at communicating, and two, I wasn't the only one going through a transition. All my friends were also going through transitions, and I didn't create that space for them to give them grace and to figure out what was going on with them. And I was so consumed with what, I was going through. And I think it was very interesting that she learned those two things. I feel like friendships like yours that have spanned so many years, you've had quite a few transitions throughout the years. And my question is, how have you guys been able to, you've kind of answered it partially, but how have you been able to keep kind of your friendship going through times when you would have, because you have to sometimes draw this boundary, like, okay, I know we used to like talk on the phone like every evening or something, but now I have this and that going on with work. I have deadlines. I can't do that. But that doesn't mean I don't want to be friends with you. But you have to communicate it clearly. If not, it comes off differently to your friend. So how do you manage to, when things change in your life and you have to change the dynamic of the friendship, how do you go about that without kind of breaking in that transition?
That's a big question. From my side, I would say that I generally just say the thing immediately. I communicate and say, see, I'm very busy during this period. I am going to be free from this day. So if we need to do something, it has to be on this day because before I'm doing this. So I give my plan and I say exactly what I'm doing. So you have a clue of it. You might not remember it, but you know more or less what is happening. So that's from Phoebe's side. Phoebe tends to assume that I know.
And I give things on like a need to know basis. So if I'm doing something, but it's literally not going to affect her at all, in my head, I wouldn't tell her because it has nothing to do with her, but she would still want to know. So I think I'm learning to like speak more about my plans, whereas she can tell me all her plans. I will not remember, but at least she has said it. Yeah. So,
and I think that it's still an ongoing learning process. I think we're better than we were a decade ago. And it's not perfect. Like I think maybe a month ago I still complained about it because she had something exciting in her life that she thought it was something normal, and for me it was like a big thing. Like I don't know, just she communicating more with somebody, or like having engaging with somebody, just a stranger, and I was like, well, for me that's a milestone, and for her it's just like, no, it's just a normal thing, it's an everyday thing. And I'm like, no, I wanted to know where it happened, who it happened with, how was the crowd and everything. Because if I was to describe it, I will describe the background. I'll describe how many people were there, who saw it, the emotions I had. So she would be like, yeah, no, nothing really happened. I just went out. And for me, it's like, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you let me know that information? So I said that, and I was like, you know what? I'm not saying anything anymore. And she turned around and said, no, you're still going to talk. You're going to tell me later on. I know you're not going to be angry. Well, in which we do not fight anymore about it, but we voice it out in a joking way and we move on. But that doesn't mean that I know that she wouldn't do it again, or I wouldn't do it again. It's probable that it will happen, but over the year, the way we, I think we've matured in the friendship. So the way we tackle it is that we tackle it rather than sleeping over it and making it fester. Fester? Mm-hmm. Yeah, fester. Like, yeah, we just tackle it and then move on from it.
Yeah, that's very good that you don't have to be perfect at it, but you have to tackle it so that it doesn't fester. I think I struggle with that because my thing is I think along, which is the problem. Because when a lot of the dialogue is with yourself, you don't give people the opportunity to actually contribute to you've kind of made a decision. You've had the problem, the solution, the consequence all in your head without engaging the other people, which I'm realizing is unfair because when I had times like that, I just felt like if I said, oh, I can't, or this or that, if I kind of felt like, oh, but everybody's busy. Everybody has things to do, but they made the sacrifice. So then that's still not an excuse. I just felt like I didn't have a good enough reason to present, but that was my reason and I genuinely couldn't. So then it kind of was like, oh, maybe I'm not able to be a good enough friend. So let me just kind of push away because I don't have the capacity to be a good friend. So let me just define myself that way and then kind of move away instead of communicating in any way, letting people decide for themselves what they think. It was kind of like, oh, everybody's figuring it out. Clearly you're not good at this. So kind of just, move aside. But it is that kind of thing where instead of making those decisions, communicating and allowing people to collaborate with you in finding an answer and a solution. That is great point.
I just wanted to add that also, from my point, since I'm the one that's always talking, like I can talk from today till tomorrow for hours, I think we kind of realize that I talk a lot. So, like, there is not a lot of time we need to do stuff in life. And so I think now the way that we have kind of tackled it a bit is that first, if it's a phone call or a text, I go straight to the point. There's no need for any background story. And if we're in the same space, then while she's doing her things, then I follow her around so she can multitask. So I think this is a way of getting a solution to my own side. Like, you talk a lot. The way we can be able to like go around it is this way. And you don't talk a lot. Once in a while, I let her know, and then she now realizes, okay, maybe this is something Elizabeth will want to know, and then she would let me know.
Yeah, that's really good.
I also want to say, like, because I know you talked about how they went to uni and, like, you know, everybody's busy. I think one thing to note is when we started our monthly meetups, we were out of school, so we were both working, so we had money. So I feel like it's a bit different when you have money and when you don't.
Yeah.
When we didn't have money, we were in school, so we saw each other. But then when we went to uni, I think there was a time when we knew a conference was going to happen. So we'd be like, oh, I'm going to this conference. If you can make it, then we meet there. So it's like you also have to work around your circumstances on how to meet. Because when you're in uni, you don't have that much money to be spending anyways. So if it's either one person goes and we chill at home, we watch a movie and things, you can do that as well. It's just, uni it's a learning period. So I feel like you always give your friends a bit of grace. Like if they can't make it or if you can't make it, you guys should just understand you're making new friends, you're learning new things. So you won't have as much time as you did before.
Yeah. One of the hardest transitions for me was because uni was surprisingly easy for me because God knows me. So he just inbuilt friends into my course. So I didn't even have to. All the friends I made in uni were my friends' friends. Like my friends already had friends, and it was perfect. It was amazing. But then what was hard for me was the transition into adulthood when I started working. And nobody tells you. Disclaimer, guys, if you haven't worked, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing where you need to reevaluate your schedule, your priorities, your time. Like it's a whole thing. And I was having quite a tough time when I first started as well. So it was really hard trying to communicate because I felt like, why is it hard for me? It seems to be fine for everybody else. Everybody seems to have this capacity. Why is it hard for me? And I realize now that I should have given people more credit and communicated and then been honest about how hard it was instead of trying to not, kind of express that. And then that might have made some things that were a bit bumpy. Because I remember one of my friends told me, we used to talk more when you were like in another country than we do now. And I was like, oh, damn it, but I'm realizing now to be more honest and vulnerable and communicating those things allows for relationships to thrive. Changing gears a bit, I want to ask, because you mentioned swimming earlier on, how Elizabeth, you swim. Phoebe, you want to learn how to swim, right? Have you guys set goals together that you want to kind of accomplish things together? Have you ever gotten the idea? So, for example, the people that wrote this book, they now have like a whole podcast, which has in turn an organization, a business together. But not necessarily something like that. But have you guys ever decided, okay, this is something we want to accomplish and we want to accomplish it together? And how did you go about that? Like keeping each other accountable, all those things, checking in with your common goal.
I think that kind of has started this year. No, like
Really, traveling together. We have to do. We put that we have to travel at least once a year together. That started from the time we went to Paris,
2022.
Yeah. So every year we have one holiday where it's like us probably older, and then we just go on holiday.
Yeah,
that's the one this year.
Then this year it became more like productive goals, I would say. Stuff like maybe she needs to study for an exam, or I need to apply for jobs, or even in the way we appear, go to the gym, or upscale the way we look, like what we wear. So, because she's so good, I feel like Phoebe's so talented. She has so many talents. Then later, she just doesn't do them. And I'm like, but why? So I'm like, she gives me, do you know what? I tell her, do you know what? You tell me what you want to accomplish, and I will give you a deadline. And then when the deadline is approaching, I come and pester her and tell her, so how is it going? And then if it's not going on well, I just continue to pursue her. So she does it. So that's how we help each other. And she does the same thing for me. I feel like there are other areas in maybe my personal life that I've become more accountable to her, like what I'm doing. So that kind of helps us in our goals and what we're accomplishing. And I find myself that it's still in progress, in the sense that I think we've not yet come to the point in which we've maximized. We've come to a point in which we're saying, oh, we're accomplishing the goals right on time, perfectly. But it's because we just started this year for the productive part. So, to play is very easy. We can set those goals and it's very easy. But the ones in which we need to work on, it's more like, oh, but I'm tired. Oh, but there is this and that I need to do. So it becomes a bit more difficult. But having someone else that is making you accountable for it makes it go a long way. A thing that I think we are doing, like, it's a common goal, is the reels. That's a common goal. Yeah. That although it's a fun thing, we decided to do it, and it takes time. We have to see a time that we're both free and what we're going to do, and later when we're going to post it. So that's something that we're collaborating on, that we're doing together. So yeah, and I think it's going on well.
That's very good. I love hearing that. I love that you keep each other accountable in shared goals like the reels, but also in individual goals. And what I was hearing about what you do to keep each other accountable is what I feel like I just had an epiphany while you guys were talking, is that you need to share your vulnerability, because you're sharing your weakness with the person. And you're telling the person, I am weak in this area. Help me to be strong. And that's a hard thing to say if, you don't feel safe to say it. Because if I feel like once I share a weakness with you, in the process of keeping me accountable, you're going to beat me down for my weakness. Or you always say you'll do stuff and then you bail in the last moment, or you set goals that you never accomplish, or you do the, and if the person in an effort to try and keep you accountable is really being judgmental and using your weaknesses against you, that will not be productive. Although it can be framed in a similar way. Oh, I'm trying to help you to be better. And one is helpful while the other one isn't. So here I had a question of being judgmental versus holding someone accountable. How are you able to, especially if you are sensing a pattern in your friend's behavior, like, okay, you do tend to, you say, I should help you with this, but then you tend to do this, or vice versa. How do you keep it constructive? How do you keep it encouraging? Because it really sounds like the tone of your accountability is cheerleading. It's like, I want to see you do this. I believe in you. That's why I'm telling you to do this, instead of, you're not good at this, you're not, and I'm telling you to do this so that you level up, right? But that is a decision you have to make as you are holding somebody accountable. So how do you manage to hold each other accountable and it not veer into judgmental territory for people? Because someone might be listening to this and feel like, oh, I can think of a friend that, I can hold accountable about something. And, we don't want people kind of drill surgeon in their friends. So how do you find that balance and that approach for each other?
I feel like at first, you call me judgmental. She calls me judgmental all the time. I don't think I am, but I think now, to be fair, she's stopped. But she used to call me judgmental. But I don't think I was judgmental. I think it's just, she knows what she's done. So her coming to tell me, she knows basically what I will say. And let's be honest, I'm right. So she'll now just carry that and be like, nah, she's being judgmental. But really, I think it depends on where the criticism is coming from. If it's coming from a place of love, that, oh yes, I want to see you do better, it will sound like only constructive criticism and everything. And if it's just coming from a place of, I really don't care, like you're just saying it just to say, you don't really care if the person changes or not, that's when it comes out harsh and like that you're being judgmental. But like, also, I remember that there was a time we were talking about something. Anyways, the time itself was very emotional. So afterwards, I remember asking her, "Oh, the way I spoke to you then, was that okay? Like, did you like that, or would you have rather I spoke in another tone or something?" To be fair, her answer was a bit weird, but like, I think that helps you better understand the other person that, okay, if they're going through something like this is not the way to approach the situation. And like, I think also, if you guys are friends and you've asked each other to be accountable, because sometimes someone can say something and it's triggering for you, like that's your weakness. And once they point it out, you get triggered. So I think you also, as a person, you have to be ready to accept correction. Like if someone is saying change this, like you might want to be angry, but you not have to sit down and be like, okay, no, I asked for this. So let me actually look at how I'm trying to change this. It's not like they're trying to attack me. They're trying to help me be better. So I think it's both ways. Because then if you now react negatively or every time they give you advice, you don't listen, after a while they'll stop. So yeah.
From my side, I feel like Phoebe made me learn a lot on this side because I was always ready with a comeback answer. Well, she's telling me something from a good place, and she's being totally nice, and it makes sense. Like if you hear it, she's not attacking me. She's just saying a fact, and I'm coming back with comeback that no, I'm right, this and that, and then later I'll sit down and I'll have that conviction that no, she's actually making sense, and I'll come back and I'll tell her that, see, I'm sorry for my reaction. It's just, and now I'm getting better. Like I don't come back anymore because I don't come with the answers. I listen, and maybe we'll have a discussion about it rather. And he said I used to be harsher. I think the way I used to like talk to her, like if I'm telling her off, like this is not right or whatever. And then later I'll feel so bad, and then I'll come back to her and say, "No, I'm sorry."
One time I went to work, so she had said something in the morning, which I do agree. But she said something in the morning. I went to work. Next thing I know, she's calling me at work, and she's like, "Oh, I just want to tell you, I'm sorry about the way I spoke to you. Like I know the points that you agree with what I was saying, but I could have done it in a better way. And never let me talk to you in that tone again." Like she actually said that to me. And I'm like, it's nice when you can, like, you're growing to the point where you can see, oh, I did this, but I know this isn't right. So also being able to apologize to one another, I think helps as well.
Yeah. Loving your friend enough to care about how it lands on your friend is really impossible. It's not enough that you're right. How is it landing on your friend? Because this is someone you say you love, isn't it? So you have to care about that as well. And you know what I got from what you guys said is, one, asking for feedback is also good. Being like, oh, in this moment, was I what you needed? Could I have been better, like what you did, Phoebe? I think that's really good. It takes humility, and it shows a culture of learning each other in the relationship, where you're not expected to be perfect, but you're also not kind of being like, oh, I do things the way I do things, and you kind of have to deal with it. You're allowing yourself to possibly be wrong, and then apologizing when you are wrong is also very exemplary, and being like, okay, maybe I wasn't right. And also what you said about receiving criticism, because some of us, God knows why, and the therapy we need, because I can relate to that. The minute someone is giving you any kind of feedback, you're like, first of all, you don't. There is no need. There is absolutely no need. Okay, so to be able to be like, you know what, I actually asked for this, and I know this person enough to know the intention towards me. So this is safe. This is a safe space. And to remind yourself of that so that you can glean and learn is also really, really important. The other thing is, it's a term it caught my attention when they said it in the book, which is poking the bear. And it's the idea of, out of the two friends, one of them was very kind of closed off and very quiet and kind of kept things to herself and what she's dealing with. Like she'll be there like for her friends and stuff, but whatever she's dealing with, she kind of kept it to herself, while the other friend will, share and all the things. And they had been friends for a while, and then there was this day where the friend that is a bit more open and sharing actually realized, wait a second, and told a friend, I feel like I don't really know a lot about you and like your story and like how you grew up and how you feel, and I don't know a lot about you. Tell me about yourself. Like, and they had been friends for a while, so that trust was established. But she recognized, wait a second, this, my friend's a bit closed off emotionally, and created that space, that safe space for this person to unburden in a way where they wouldn't typically do. Because one thing I'm realizing is that some of us, and I say us because I am part of that community, some of us are very within ourselves. We don't really share that much. We don't really open up that much. And it's not because there's nothing to open up and share. It's just there's not been a lot of opportunities and spaces where we feel like, okay, this is the time and we can do it. And sometimes I personally don't even feel like it's necessary. I'm like, I'll be fine. It's fine. Like, we can focus on you. We can do, I'll be all right. I'll figure it out kind of thing. So this friend was, what I loved about it is that they were intentional to recognize the dynamic in the friendship. And instead of being like, oh, you never open up or you never do this, they were like, tell me about yourself. You know, tell me about how you grew up. And in telling me about it, because I am a safe space, you would tell me how that affected you and how that has shaped the kind of woman you are. So what do you have to say about that, about the whole poking the bear, kind of creating that space and trying to really get to know?
Oh my gosh, I would wake up one day, or maybe I would see a real, like, I think it was like surprise party. I'll call it surprise party, like, and I thought, I got angry by myself. She's not there, and I got angry with her because I was like, if she was to throw me a party, she would know who to call, what to do, how I would like it, and she would do it perfectly. But if I was to do the reverse and do it for her, I don't know. So I came back, strolling, and I was like, I'm angry. And she was like, what is it? What is it again? I said, if you want to throw a party, I know that you would know what to do. And then she was like, yes, I'll do this and that. And I was like, you see, you know it. I don't. I'm so angry because you never told me. Then she now told me what, you know, she would like. And she was like, I know that you would be fine. I was like, no, you can't say that because you never told me. How am I supposed to know? And so I kind of always like keep it light in a joking way. There are serious times, but we tend to, I feel like in our communication, it's easier to convey the message if it is like joking. You're saying something serious, but not making it heavy. We can have conversations, but if you make it heavy, then it becomes like, oh, you're hammering me, you're behaving like my mother every single second. Well, that's not the aim. It's just like, maybe I just want to know a little bit more about you. So yeah, I think I do a lot of the talking to find out more. Like, I just don't, maybe, can you tell me this? Can you tell me this? What happened there? Even if and it's like I would observe something and then I will ask a question so that she would like open up regarding that. Like, I have to observe it to be able to point it, because if not, for her, it's something negligible. But for me, it's like I can make a whole story in my head around it. So
that's really good. That's really good. You want to say anything, Phoebe, about that?
No, that's actually because when she brought that surprise party, she actually had said, she was like, you know, my nighttime routine. And I was like, she was like, what do I need to go to be able to sleep? And I told her everything. And then she was now like, but I don't have anything for you. And I was like, that's because I don't have one. Like, I just go to bed. Like, so sometimes it's not necessarily because you don't know me. It's just the other person. You have to understand each other's character. Like, I know that she should be angry with me about a lot of things. So it's not like I'm holding every time she's angry, I will now be counting it. Like, we'll resolve it and then we'll move on. And it's that's just our dynamic. So
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's really good. I think sometimes there isn't much to say. Like you said, I don't have a bedtime routine, so I won't be able to share that. But then there are times when it's like, I think what I like about what you said, Elizabeth, is recognizing, because most likely the friend that is the bear doesn't even realize the things that you don't know or you feel like it's important. In their mind, it's like you said, negligible, like it's not important. So you have to realize, what is it that I actually want to know about my friend? And then create that space and then ask them those questions to find out about them, because they most probably have no idea. that they haven't shared that. Like that's not even in their radar. You have to bring it up and then let them tell you. I wanted to also address something. I feel like in this culture that kind of we live in, there's a lot of, and that's a whole different podcast and a whole different conversation, but there's a lot going on about self-care and this whole idea of taking care of yourself and self-love and all of those things, which, have their place. And there is a reason why that has come up. And, that's the whole thing, like I said. But I wanted to explore the themes of self-care versus community care, because both of you have a great friendship and both of you, are great. But whenever at least I can say, whenever I've been around the two of you, I've never felt like the other person. You know what I'm saying? I've always felt like, oh, we are all kind of friends. You don't kind of just isolate the two of you. There is a real intentionality about community care that both of you have. And if I can also mention, like Rhoda has, I feel like it's just this idea of creating space and allowing people to feel comfortable in your space and included in your space that you guys, practice very, very well. And for people like myself that are more on the awkward side in kind of social situations, it's nice to kind of feel like there are safe people there that can feather to in the social situation. Like I was thinking about it this year when we're going to singles conference, and I was like, damn, last year, I think it was last year's singles conference, I had both of you there, so I could like just be with you guys, and it was just fine, and I felt like included and all the things, and I was like, what am I going to do? Like literally. So there's this kind of community sense that you guys have as well. And although self-care is good and it's important, I'm not, docking it, there is this, we can kind of lose seeing the other person when we're all about curating our own space. So what can both of you say about kind of those two cultures and what are the things we can do to develop more community care? Because I feel like you guys do it, but I don't know how you do it. So how are you able to kind of do that for people around you?
I think I specialize more on the self-care and she more on the community care. Yeah, like I do like community care, but I think she has more of a percentage around it than I do. And I see that's why maybe if we're doing a lot of self-care, she'll try to say, let's balance it. If she's doing a lot of community care, I'll tell, you have to look after yourself as well. Like you can't always be out there. You're going to burn out eventually. So, for example, if there's a conference and she says, okay, let's get everybody, I'll be like, me as a self-care, I'll be like, I will just both of us because I know that we can manage ourselves. We don't have to, like, no social batteries situation, and we'll do it. Like we can talk to people at the conference. But she's like, let's go. And I'm like, I got you. Let's do this. Then I will see her social battery in where I can help. I will manage with certain people. She will manage certain people. Then later she'll be like, that was a lot. Next year we're not. Then I'll be like, okay, so next year is our self-care. We're going to like have just me and you. That's how it has been going. And we've been balancing it. Or if not, if it's over a week and she's like, I have this, I have this, I have this, I have this. And I'll be like, where is the time just for you? Yeah. And she would be like, I don't have. Then I'll be like, you need to create a space for it. And then eventually she finds it. Or if there is a place where I don't have anything to do with a community engagement, maybe if I can help her just by like driving, picking her up, so that will, after she has had the social environment, she doesn't have to think about the transportation. Or if I can just be there to just take half of the social engagement she has to do, like she can concentrate on maybe 50%, I'll take the other 50%. Or even if it is just a 20%, she doesn't have the whole lot, I would do that, like where I can. Because I would just say, no, I cannot. I need to sleep. Like you will see me in a social gathering. I'll say, I'll go to my car and I will sleep. Because I'm like, my battery has gone down. I need to sleep. But I know she wouldn't do that. So maybe if it is like in any area that I can help her out with, I will. And wherever I need to say that, see, you have to look after yourself right now because you're going to run dry and stuff like that. And she will notice that. And maybe it's those times in which I am trying to run away from community, she'll be like, you've been away today, yesterday, that. Like, come. And then I'll now ask question, okay, so where are we going? Okay, who's going to be there? Okay, so how long are we going to be there for? Then later, I think I'll feel bad that she'll be like, oh, well, if you're not going, then I guess you're not going to. And I'll be like, oh, if you say it like that, then you end up going. So, yeah, the kind of balance it out like that.
I think also, like what you were saying about how you never feel left out when you're with us. I know for Rhoda, she feels the same as me. I'm not sure about you. But like for us, we don't, not that we grew up, we kind of grew up, let me say for me, I kind of grew up feeling like people didn't like me or like I'm too quiet or like if I go somewhere new and nobody talks to me. And so you have that feeling of, I don't feel like I belong here. You feel scared to talk to other people. And so I think what really helped me was, I remember my pastor saying, don't just think about yourself. Because when you think about yourself over and over again, in your head, your problems get bigger. But if you start thinking about others, so like if I see a new person in church, I see they're standing by themselves. In my head, I'm like, I wouldn't like that if that was me. So I'll go and speak to them, acting like that was me in their position and trying to make them feel as welcome as possible. Because you never want anyone to feel like they don't belong or they don't want to be there. And so when I started doing it that way, like, speak to people that you see are alone, try and make jokes, make them happy, make them relax. It gets easier as you do it. You also become more friendly. And I know in the Bible it says like to have friends, be more friendly yourself. And so it actually pushes you out there. And this one, I try and drag her. Like sometimes she won't want to go and like talk to someone here. And I'm like, let's go. And I feel like the more you do it, the easier it is also to build community. Because people are like, oh yeah, I had a talk with her. She was nice. And like next time they see you, they'll say hi. And it keeps building on itself. So I think that's one, like I know people are a lot about self-care. But also when you begin to care about others, it helps you as well. So
sometimes she will put me on a mission. She'll be like, you see that person there? Go and talk to them. And I'll be like, no. People be like, can't you see the person is alone? No. Or sometimes I'm going. In my head, I'm like, I'm Phoebe representative because Phoebe can't go by herself. So I'm going. But
I love that.
Talking to the person. And then it's like a good conversation. But me personally, I wouldn't, but because she's like, oh, come on. So that's the thing that I'm learning from her, like, just to be that inclusive, like, because I have like my set of people that I feel very comfortable with.
Yeah.
That I don't need to do any extra things. So that's my self-care center. Like, I don't need to, my comfort zone. Like, I don't need to do anything. No, you need to talk to that person over there. I don't know their name. I don't know where they come from. Exactly. Go and talk to them. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I get that. I think what I'm gaining from the verses is, one, it's a balance. So don't communicate yourself to burn out, but don't self-care yourself in a way whereby, kind of like what you said, Phoebe, think if I was the other person, how would I want to be treated? And that allows you to care for other people. That allows you to kind of create space and capacity for other people, where all your thoughts are not about yourself and your comfort. You're also thinking, okay, how does this person feel? And how can I help them feel better? What does this person need? And is there a way I can provide that? And that is how we will be able to kind of balance those two things. That's very, very good. And I love that you guys have a balance, like you pull each other to the middle. That's really, really dope. All right. So we're going to go into an interesting kind of topic. I think it's a good one when it comes to friendship, and that is comparison and competition.